Good morning. Very quickly, before this video starts, I want to quickly point out one difference to all of my other videos that I've ever put up. With my other videos, what I normally do is hook up the capture card, hook up the microphone, hit record, and go, and just do it all live. Couldn't do that with this one for two reasons. One, there were so many failed attempts and so many practice runs, I couldn't commentate and keep it fresh and not repeat myself and not get confused for all of the abandoned attempts. That's number one. Number two, the UK, for those living outside the UK is in the middle of something called summer holidays, which is about 6.5 weeks of no one getting any peace and quiet because there are a million kids out there. So again, I couldn't really record it and have audio without like the Trolls soundtrack or Shimmer and Shine or, you know, teenagers playing music, whatever, in the background. So just to get a nice clean audio commentary track, I recorded it separately to the video. Anyway, peace. Okay, this is Flashback on the Megadrive. This is the no damage, no saves, no wall glitch, and expert difficulty run. Now, I want to just put this out here right now. This is not a speed run. I am not speed running this game. However, I will be going through it as fast as I possibly can, as in it's within my power to do so, purely because I wanted to keep this YouTube video very short. The game itself, I mean, if I went through everything and explored and, you know, looked at all the cutscenes, we're talking like, you know, 3-4 hours. As it stands, I got through the entire game in about an hour and a half. Again, not a speed run. However, I'll be letting because I basically ran through this in one playthrough, the cutscenes in between levels are going to play out, but anything in the actual level, like pick up, put down, any of the small cinematics, they're all getting skipped. I am changing my joystick type to type 2, and I'm on expert. It doesn't really matter what joystick or configuration you have, really makes no difference. It's just personal preference. It doesn't make this easier or harder. So here we are, level 1, and like I say, this is not a speed run, but I am going to be blazing through this as fast as I possibly can. There are a few things that I'm going to I'm going to use this first level to basically bring you up to speed. Everyone knows the first level of Flashback. The reason I'm doing the Megadrive version, it's the most popular version. It's the version that everybody sort of instantly gravitates towards, console-wise, when you talk about Flashback. And the impetus for this was when I was doing my previous videos, where I played through the entire game, and it was 7 different levels, and I used 7 different ports of Flashback, one port per level. I kind of joked half-heartedly through the recording of those. I bet I can do a no-hit run, because I was like going through the game, and because I know the game so well, I was not taking any damage through a lot of the game, and I kind of joked like, maybe I can get a no-hit run. So the other day, you know, trying to fight off a cold, I decided, let's give it a shot. And I got through the entire game on expert, only taking like 2 or 3 hits. So I knew it was possible. However, there are a few things that, you know, I didn't take into consideration when I started. Let me just quickly explain the way Flashback works. Flashback itself is not a platform game. This is not a platform game. This is more of a puzzle game. They call it an action platformer or a cinematic platformer. It's really not a platformer. The game itself works on a grid system. So there's an invisible grid over the screen, and where you are determines how many steps you take, how many like the distance you roll, the distance you climb, the distance you fall, so on and so forth. If you've ever played Prince of Persia or Another World or Out of This World, exactly the same. Exactly, or even something like Blackthorn. I mean, or Black Hawk, if you know what those are. Very, very similar. So it's a strict grid system, and because it's a strict grid system, you can preempt moves. You can work on things. So the way I like to run through Flashback is I'm not part of a speedrunning community. I'm not part of an online community that likes Flashback. I'm just kind of a guy that has played it for so long. I've made, you know, various techniques, various tricks that I use to get through the game. Like you saw at the beginning, where I just walk past the door, don't open the door, just go up behind the guy and get the cartridge from behind him. Little things like that I've built up over time. Now, in selecting which version of Flashback to do for this run, I picked the Megadrive because it was the most popular. Unfortunately, like I said before, there are a few little things that I didn't take into consideration when picking it. And I'll come to those towards the end. Basically, the Megadrive and its memory allocation makes it really hard to do a no-hit run on Expert without using glitches. So yeah, so there's, like I say, Flashback, you've got to get out of your head that it's a platformer. It's not. It's a puzzle. It's like a puzzle game that involves platforms. So, for example, when I shoot this guy up here, I know that if I stand exactly here, I will end a roll on the transition of the next screen and pop every time. So once you've got that system in your head, the game is super simple and also manipulative. You're able to manipulate it. If you know what the enemy is going to do, for the most part, you can predict where they're going to be, how they're going to act. You can kind of negotiate around a level in a way that makes it super simple. So, again, that's one thing to consider. The last thing to consider is Delphine Software made this game. Now, Delphine Software were super pedantic about the cinematic quality of this game. Like, it was running in 24 frames a second on the Amiga. It was supposed to be, I mean, when it came out on the Mega Drive, this version, it was called a CD game on a cartridge. Like, they were really, really, really impressed with their animations, and they should be. It's super impressive for the time, which was, what, 92 when this came out? So, because of the animations and their pride in those animations, there is horrific animation priority in this game, which I have exploited to just the nth degree. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to shoot the guy on the right. The guy on the left is going to take a shot at me, but I'm already turning around. Now, because I was already in the turnaround animation, I am completely invulnerable. There are certain actions you can do in this game where you cannot be hit. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. Those actions involve being on a lift. If you're on an elevator that goes up or down, you are completely invulnerable. If you are climbing up and down, you are completely invulnerable to melee attacks. If you bang your head into a wall from a roll or from a jump and you knock yourself out essentially on the floor, you're completely invulnerable. So what I do in this run is I completely exploit that. Also, you're going to hear some certain terms. So you're going to hear things like animation priority. I'm going to say that a lot during this run. When I say something like animation priority, I'm basically mean, are you climbing? Are you on an elevator? Are you moving but not controlling Conrad? Because that's basically when you're, invulnerable. I'm also going to use other terms as well. Now, like I said, I'm not a part of a Flashback online community. I don't know all the terminology that is used in speedrunning or whatever. This is just terminology that I've not made up myself, but I use myself and have done for the last 25 years. So when you see Conrad exit a frame and come into a frame, that's a transition. I call that the transition. So that there was a transition. We're going to exploit transitioning as well. Like, it's amazing what you can do. So again, I'm not glitching the game. There are no hard glitches. What I'm doing is exploiting some of the little issues that Flashback has. Now, this bit here is quite interesting. I'm actually waiting for the animation of the guy at the bottom to move his gun, and then he doesn't have time to shoot you. Like I say, these aren't glitches. These are just little tips and tricks that I picked up, and I tried to throw out as many as I could while I was playing through the game, but because the ports were different, some of the things worked and some of the things didn't, which is why I wanted, this playthrough, the expert no-hit playthrough. I wanted that to be one port, so everything would work. So yeah, when you hear me say things like transition, that's basically what I'm talking about. The other little sort of bits of terminology you're going to hear me throw out is like an auto run and an auto jump. If you've ever played Flashback, you basically have an action button and directional buttons. So if you hold the action button and hold a direction, that's a hold run. And if you hold a direction button then let go and you're still holding the action button, that's an auto run. It also means you have a hold jump and an auto jump. So this bit coming up, this is an auto run and this is an auto jump. Comrade automatically jumps to that platform. It means you can cover greater distances, and there are certain jumps that need that. There is also animation priority in a lot of this, so you'll see me abuse that as well. Coming up is the first real enemy of the game. When I was talking about transitions, transitions are everything. What we can do is with these cops, we don't yet have the shield. So these cops normally lay a couple of hits on you. If you shoot them outside of the transition, their bullets do not come back into the transition. So you can just kill them by shooting someone off screen. That's going to come in super useful in level 4. You must also show in your crotch there. That's very, very important. You need to hang up there and then just let him have a good old look. Going to be skipping all of this. Again, I'm not speedrunning, but I just wanted it to be, you know, an hour and 30 minutes for the entire game is pretty good. So you do that by skipping all the cutscenes, which is heresy, but there you go. First enemy, here's where we're going to select our shield. Force field, sorry. We're going to drop down, activate the force field. He will hold his fire. If you try and do that without doing the force field, even if you don't shoot, even if you shoot, even if you just drop down and start shooting, he will always land a hit on you. It's basically the game's version of a tutorial. Like, here's how this works. You just saw, you know, him say, oh, I put a force field in your pocket. The very first enemy you encounter, if you do not use that force field, he will shoot you. Some of the enemies as well, when they see a force field, they won't open fire. So if you keep hammering the force field, you can, again, manipulate the AI. The AI in this game is horrifically, I'm not going to say stupid, but predictable. Like, if you can get an enemy in a certain, or if you're standing in a certain position and you can get an enemy in a certain position, it just becomes a cakewalk. Like, there are going to be certain enemies where once I get them where I want them, I'm literally just holding a button and they die. Right, the entire game is 7 levels long. The second level is 1/3, if not half, of the entire game. It is so huge. Mostly because this was actually supposed to be a different game. Flashback was never supposed to be what Flashback is. Flashback, as far as I'm aware, was supposed to be a futuristic sequel to The Godfather? As in, The Godfather. Set in the future, and the license holders for The Godfather, who are maybe MGM, I don't know, whoever owns the license, went, nah. So they had all this gameplay and nothing to do with it. So that's why level 2 is so long, and the rest of the game is super short. I think the shortest level in here I finished in about 4 minutes. Like, some of these levels are ridiculously short. So level 2, what we're basically doing is we need false papers to get into Death Tower. And Death Tower is a game show, essentially the Running Man. So what I'm doing now is basically speeding through, getting a job, getting an ID card, going through, so on and so forth. And like I say, the difference between expert difficulty and normal difficulty is that on normal difficulty, there are times when they might, you know, some of the enemies just die really, really easily. On expert difficulty, they are just complete bullet sponges, which again messes up some of the tricks that I employ. Again, none of this is glitches. I'm not glitching the game, but the fact that some enemies take more damage than others means that I've completely got to rework all of my positioning. Like, positioning's a word I'm going to say a lot, because it basically means where you're standing, where you're facing, when, and for how long. because it manipulates the AI. Now, if the AI has more energy or more hit points, that positioning is just completely shot. So you kind of have to rework it for your different difficulty levels. On this difficulty, I basically, if I can't kill it, or if it takes too long to kill, I'm just avoiding it. And come level 7 and level 8, I actually end up avoiding most of the enemies. Level 7, the first level on the Morph planet, I actually don't kill a single enemy. I go through that entire level without killing anybody. Which, oh no, I kill like one of those little alien dog things. Like, that's it. Spoilers. So, getting the jobs is... I mean, again, we're not saving, we're not doing energy refills because I'm not going to get hit for the entire game. I don't need to make a beeline towards energy generators or anything like that, so we're just going to be going super duper fast. So the first mission is to pick up a package and deliver it. Now, you can tell I'm not a speedrunner because on one of these missions, I actually get off at the wrong station. Like, I'm not paying attention. While I'm running this game, I'm also, you know, in real time with playing this, getting, you know, fixing my daughter's breakfast, and, you know, she wants to talk about Shimmer and Shine or Disney princesses, so I'm kind of doing that while I'm playing this, which is why I'm recording this audio after the fact. This was actually last week, this recording. So even though I do sort of like play it all the way through, I'm kind of doing other things in the background. Like, there'll be a bit where I just pause for like 30 seconds to a minute. That's just me getting coffee. So again, this is not a speed run, but I will be going through it as fast as possible. And the fact that I'm not saving, like not having to go to save points, not having to look at maps, not having to look at, you know, any screens I don't need to, not killing anybody that doesn't need killing, basically. Anyone that can be avoided, I'm just going to straight up avoid. Like, if they don't drop a key, or they don't drop, or they're not like mission critical, I'm just ignoring them. There is a problem with that. The inherent problem with the Megadrive version is that, oh, you need your force field here because when you drop off the parcel, there's going to be a cop. So what I'm going to do is, if you've ever played Flashback, you need to know how to use the force field. It's super important. You need to shoot, force field, shoot, force field. It's not complicated, it's just all timing based. This whole game is pretty much timing based. You need to be comfortable with your force field. You need to know how to use it. You need to know when to use it because they like to surprise you with bad guys. So yeah, so getting back to it, the way Flashback works is that all the screens have enemies on when the level loads. There will be a slight pause when you go into a screen for the first time, and that's so it can put the sprites on the screen of NPCs or bad guys or whoever. Orbs, doors, anything moving like platforms, elevators. So all of that stuff spawns in after you've entered the room. The problem is that when you leave that room, it doesn't despawn. So if you leave a guy alive, it doesn't matter where else you are on that level, that guy is still in memory and he's still moving, talking, shooting, doing whatever. Like, he is using up vital RAM. The Megadrive didn't have a ton of that. So on level 7, where I'm not killing a single enemy out of, I don't know how many there are, like a dozen, 15 maybe. By the end, the frame rate, we're talking single digits. Like, it is in single digits. Had I known that, I probably would have gone for the Mega CD version. The only problem with playing the Mega CD version is when you get to level 2, like we are now, all of those cutscenes have to come off the CD. So every time you drop down the teleporter, every time you take a mission, every time... This is the one where I go to the wrong station. Again, not a speedrunner. Yeah, I am not qualified to speedrun this game. I think that's my only... I've only really made one big mistake, and I think this is it in the entire run. So, I'll take it. I'll probably make another couple as well. But, yeah, I'll take it. What was I saying? So, yeah, had I had known, I would have used the Mega CD version. Now, the Mega CD version... all of those cutscenes, every time you pick something up, every time you put something down, all has to come off the disc. And there is a pause. Even though I'm emulating this, obviously, this is not being run on a thing, because this is on the Genesis. I don't have a Genesis. I would have had to use a Megadrive. That's 50 Hz. That instantly makes the game slower. and it messes up all the timing and everything else. I'm emulating this on a Raspberry Pi, but it is the closest I could possibly ever get to an actual Genesis. Like frame by frame, it's the closest that this thing can ever get. Unfortunately, it does come with inherent problems that does, like memory allocation and stuff like that. So the Mega CD version would have been great, but there is that little pause every time it needs to access the CD. There's also the soundtrack that you can't mute properly. I like the soundtrack, but it's not as good. I actually like the charm of the Mega CD stroke PC version, but for this version, I picked Megadrive because, again, it's the most popular one. Right, getting back to the actual run, this guy, I need him to turn around. So now I'm able to drop down, pop him. I'm going to be doing a lot of that. Quick draw is vital for this run. You need to know how to quick draw. This is, again, another quick draw. If I roll into that room or walk into that room, I'm going to get shot. So I leap and quick draw in the air. You land with a gun out. So the way quick drawing works is you can do one of 4 animations. You can either climb up, drop down, roll, or jump. And while you're doing one of those 4 things, if you tap the draw button, the gun draw button, he'll quick draw. So like here, boom, quick draw. So I was climbing up. As he's doing the climbing animation, you can do a quick draw. Now, when I said that Flashback has animation priority, it does mean it allows you to stack input commands. So the way a quick draw works is, as you're pulling yourself up or dropping down, or you do a leap, or you do a roll, whatever, you can tap that button. Now it stores that input. That also means that you can kind of abuse the system, where you can store different inputs that aren't necessarily quick draws. Like you can store a run, or maybe you can store a leap, or something where you'll be invulnerable because of those invincibility frames from the animation priority. Now you can abuse that. Say you're in a room where like 7 guys are pointing a gun at you. Providing you stack enough commands and the right commands in the right order with the right positioning, you're basically invulnerable. So you'll see there'll be a lot of times where it looks like I get shot or I should have been shot. Like a bit like the jungle level. So in the jungle it looked like I got shot in the back, but what I was doing is I was doing the turnaround animation, and because I was doing the turnaround animation, the bullet just went clean through me. And you're going to see that quite a bit in this run. It's going to look like I should have been shot in the face, or I should have been shot in the back, or whatever. And it looks like the bullet goes straight through. Basically, you can stack animation. You can stack input commands on top of each other, and because of that, you're essentially just invulnerable. The other good thing to note as well is that if you use the force field with a person behind you, it will put up a second force field behind you, which you can totally abuse as well. Like, if you drop down in between 2 guys, you don't have to kind of manipulate the enemies where you need them. You can just drop down in between them, hit the force field, and it will drop one in front of you and behind you. So this second level, again, running through it as quickly as humanly possible. What level was that? That was the take the VIP to the thing. So this one is the kill the cyborg. So essentially Blade Runner. This is me talking to the wrong guy. Yep, it's the guy at the end. There we go. Again, speed running, but what you can't hear right now is, my daughter telling me that we have to sing, I don't know, songs from Moana or something. So I'm doing that and also playing a game and not getting hit the entire time, which when you got a 4-year-old is not easy. Alright, so we're going to talk to this cop. Again, whizzing through all the dialogue. Sorry if you've, never played Flashback before, but you're not going to see any cutscenes, you're not going to see anything. No dialogue, nothing. I'm hitting it as fast as possible. So, this next screen. Again, all about positioning. You need to position yourself roughly at this chair, duck down, roll in, turn around, pop the mutant that those basically was going to surprise you. As long as you know where the enemies are coming and at what time, as long as you get that positioning right, you're absolutely golden. You can't get hit. Same as here. When we go down this lift, you're going to see that the cop is waiting for us. However, unfortunately for the cop, if we're on a lift and the lift is moving, we're completely invulnerable. So the cop is going to try shooting me straight in the face, and it's not going to work because we're on a lift. So now I'm just going to do the force field shoot, force field shoot. Going to pick up this key. Okay, I'll let that one play out a little bit long. Again, I'm just hammering the button as soon as it happens. I think from beginning to the end of level 2, I finish in about 25 minutes, something like that. So you put the key in here. Now, the last thing, so I've talked about abusing animation priority, I've talked about abusing vulnerability frames. The last thing I'm going to talk about right now is abusing screen transitions. It is absolutely unbelievable that they didn't do anything about this. So if you stand with your back to either a wall or a screen transition, the enemies, essentially these ones that teleport, but also other enemies as well, will not shoot you in the back. If I take one more step towards that wall, so one more step to the right, they'll come in behind me and bonk me on the head. So if you keep your back to the transition, there is nothing they can do. And not only that, when they teleport the exact same amount of tiles each time. So if you know where the absolute limit of their teleport is, you'll be completely fine. The one thing you don't want to do is hold the button down. You want to shoot only when you can see them, because if there are 2 or more enemies, they can basically gang up on you. Think like Final Fight or Streets of Rage. The way those games work is an enemy gets in front of you, an enemy gets behind you, and they just juggle you. Essentially, Flashback works the same way. Oh, this is me forgetting that we don't go that way. We actually go downstairs for this mission. This is the infamous network card. The reactor's gonna melt down kind of thing. Again, we're just going through it as fast as possible. Don't stop. You can't get hurt. These floor things here, providing you run on them, can't get hurt. The whole game is just about timing. All timing. The biggest problem with that is that when the frame rate goes into single digits, it throws out all of your timing. That's the biggest problem. You'll see, when I get to level 7 and 8, it's just a complete slideshow. So, yep, coming down here, all we've got to do in this, I mean, this is the one that gets most people, mostly because it doesn't tell you where to put the network card. Like, you would basically have a little stick or like a little terminal card, and you're told to just put it in a computer. The computer is an entire screen wide, and there's a tiny little bit you actually have to be in to use it. So I'm just going to select it. There it is. And you have to go to a specific point. That point is there. Boom, done. Simplest mission in the game, but it's the one that causes the most grief, purely because it doesn't tell you where to put the card. Okay, and this is the last one. So as far as missions go in level 2, level 2 is the only, again, level 2 is its own game. And getting jobs range in difficulty. This is, of all of them, the most difficult, because the enemies are so trigger happy, bullet spongy, and they don't move. Like, you can't manipulate the enemies where you need to be, right? So you want to be on the left side of the save, jump down, shoot, and that guy will 9 times out of 10 shoot the guy on the left. On a very rare occasions he won't. Most of the time he'll shoot the guy on the left. So down here we're just going to do a drop and pop. Again, that's a quick draw. Same again here. You've got to make sure you use your force field, because these guys are essentially the final boss of level 2. They will shoot first every time. You really need to be on the ball with your force field. I'm gonna get a force field in front and one behind. He's gonna hit that, and I'm gonna pop him. This is basically make or break for a no-hit run. you need to know what to do with that force field. This is me forgetting that this is actually a key lock and not a switch. Attaboy, there you go. Right, this bit here is actually a lot harder than it looks. I'm going to make this look pretty simple, but boy, did this take me a lot of practice runs. Right. Basically, the way it works is you need to get up and then get down. Now, because of that animation priority, that bomb can't hit you, but he can. So you've also got to do your force field at the same time. So I'm actually stacking 3 inputs on top of each other. I'm stacking the climb up, and then stacking the force field, and no, stacking the climb up, the climb down, and then the force field. This one as well, this is an utter nightmare. I completely screwed this up. I was supposed to pull the gun out in the air, but for some reason I was tapping the gun button and it just didn't happen. So that was me pulling the gun out. Now, because the pulling the gun out is animation priority, the bullet just went straight through. Normally I would have said, you know what, I'll restart that. That doesn't look that clean. But it took me so long to get to this point without being hit. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll leave it. Alright, here we go. Just going to drop down, pop this guy. Pop. There we go. Just a quick draw. That laser up there, you've got to remember it's there, because now it's active. This guy as well, we're just going to go pop, pop, pop. So shoot and force field, and shoot and force field, and so on and so forth. These guys are so much easier to take out in normal. It's ridiculous. Level 4 is where it starts getting a bit much with those guys. But again, we're just going to abuse screen transitions. Shoot them outside the screen transition because they fly back when you hit them. So if you juggle them back off the screen, you're basically, again, invulnerable because their bullets don't come into your screen. Their bullets remain on the screen they're on. Okay, I pull my gun out here just so I don't accidentally stand up into the gunfire. Sometimes it's just easier to do that. Also, this screen here, I've got a complete brain fart. You don't need to hang down on here, you just drop down, but for whatever reason I hang down, which means I'm slightly off screen. All you can see is my hand and the gun, but it doesn't matter because I can still see the force field. Just gonna pop this guy with a force field. There you go. All about timing. Once you've got the timing down, it really is a doddle. Very last thing they try and get you with is a little ball here. We're just going to turn around and pop him. It's total bullet sponge on expert. Utter bullet sponge. Right, gun away, and that's it. Level's done. No more missions, no more jobs. We've got all the money we need. Just going to go. Yep. That's basically telling us to go back to the bar. The guy's got our papers ready. The one thing you got to remember is every time you come back to this room with a teleporter, do not run off that screen because you will always fall down that hole and just die. That was a bit close as well. Probably shouldn't have done that. Right. So we're going to get on the train here and go back to America Station. Again, every time you see a speed run of this, it's just all wall hacks. Like, I don't think they ever take a train. Or at least when I was watching GDQ, that guy was just running through the walls. Like, at the station. Like, the train could be there and he didn't care. He was just going through the walls because it's quicker. Yep, remember which switch it is. Attaboy. Okay, so there's really nothing else to fear in this level. All you've got to do is just get there, get the papers, and then get back to Death Tower. And then Death Tower itself is pure memory. Like, that entire level is super, super technical. Maybe the most technical level of the entire game. So now we've given him the money, and we've got our false papers. We can get into Death Tower. Let's scoot. So when it comes to the next level, Death Tower, unlike this level or the level before, the first 2 levels are basically, I mean, level 2 is its own game. Level 1 is basically a tutorial. Level 3 is where it starts to get real. Like, really real. And on expert, there's going to be a lot happening very quickly. So I'm going to try and break down what I'm actually doing. Because just looking at the screen is going to be all over real quick. So I will do my best to basically break down the techniques that again, I don't know whether people do this, you know, other people do this. This is just what I've been doing for 25 years or so. Like I said, some of those techniques I had to literally throw in the bin and make new ones because, boy. Right, this is where I've sewn together the footage, and for whatever reason, the middle 3 levels are going to be dark and they're going to be yellow. I don't know why. So level 3, 4 and 5 are going to be all dark. Thanks, OBS. Right, here's what you can do. Very first thing, you're going to run in, you're going to auto jump, you're going to turn around by holding the other direction. You're going to force this guy in. Now these are the only enemies on this level. And what we need to do is manipulate where we want them to be, which is way easier than it sounds. We can get rid of all mines, we can get rid of them, we can block them, we can trap them. Right here, you don't want to jump, you want to fall, and then you want to auto run. You want to climb, and you want to quick draw and turn around and shoot these 2 guys. Right, when they are dead, you want to come in, you want to drop, gun out, drop, wait for him to roll across, and then up and shoot. You have to wait for him to move towards you, otherwise you won't have enough room. Right. Switch, and then here is very important. You have to wait for this guy to come up. When he's on your level, then go. Again, I hope you can employ some of these tricks and tips. If not, you know, sorry. Like I said, it's all positioning, it's all timing. You're going to do a quick draw here. Do not shoot if they are moving. You need to wait for them to stop moving. You can juggle some of the bad guys, not all. The other thing to remember, Death Tower is actually a tower. If you go out of... Right, here we're just going to abuse a screen wrap. There, just getting to stand up. Rather than fighting toe-to-toe when you haven't got a lot of room, it's a lot easier just to abuse the screen transitions. There you go. So... Death Tower is actually a tower. You can go all the way out on the left and return on the right if there's no wall there. But it's not a tower. Oh, the reason we wait for that other ball to climb is that it's there now. It doesn't wait for us to come into the next screen. The tower itself, the rings going up actually get smaller the higher you go. So I think at the end it's just 1 screen wide. The bottom level is obviously the widest, and then so level 7 through to 1 get progressively shorter. So the one thing that I don't tell you as well is Death Tower actually gets easier the higher up you go. The last boss of Death Tower, if you want to call it that, I'm literally just holding the action button and not moving, not doing anything else, not aiming. I'm literally just holding 1 button and I finish this level. It's patronisingly simple. Some of the enemies as well, you'll see me do a duck, like stand shoot, duck shoot. This guy here, we want to wait for him to be standing next to the door and he will freeze. We want him to freeze by this door, right here. We're going to roll in, pop him low, pop him high. He's going to teleport behind us. Oh, no, in front of us, sorry. Now he's going to... No, there you go. Now he's going to teleport behind us. Crack him there, turn around, pop him there. The next guy, you can wait in just this little gap here, roll in, pop him low. Then, because your back is touching that screen transition, he can't hurt you. There you go. Now, if one of these teleporter guys walks past you from behind and you pistol whip him in the back of the head, you can score another 2 hits by just holding the button. It's the only time it will happen with this particular enemy and in that particular scenario. What I'm trying to do is put my back to the screen transition and get him to walk past me. I don't shoot him, I hit him in the back of the head. Then I can score another 2 hits with bullets. This is very complicated. you need to wait until the music starts. Then you need to wait for him to commit to climbing up this platform here. Roll in, one low, wait, one high. Now he's trapped in that little hole. We need to do a running jump over the gap, and then we're going to abuse this screen transition here. So step in, he gets up, we're going to do a low one, we're going to do, oh no, gotta wait, high one. We're going to trap him in the pit again. With those two balls and that low wall that you have to roll under, you do not want to take this guy on toe to toe, because he will score a hit on you. And if you're doing a no-hit run, that's absolutely no good to you whatsoever. So you want to basically keep trapping him in that pit and just abuse the transition. When we get down here, that ball is going to come around, so we're going to start shooting. Alright, we're going to go in. And we're going to do a quick draw up onto this platform here. Quick draw out. That gives us enough time to shoot this guy. Drop back down, run as fast as you can. Making good time here at the minute. I was really impressed with myself at this point. So, going up to level 6, you want to be on the right hand side of the lift. Then when you get up, you want to just quickly jump, run in, hit the switch, run out. That guy, I feel so sorry for that guy. You're going to see him again later. It's such a sad, sad story with that guy. Going to do a roll to a duck, and then quickly jump. You have to be on the ball there. So it's a roll to a duck to a roll. This here is also quite complicated. You want to drop down and then immediately turn around, put your back to the wall, turn around, gun out, drop down. The reason you want to be in this position is that you do not want to get that guy behind you. You want him to be in front of you, and the only way to do that is to put your back to the wall. So don't be one step ahead. That you want to be on the left hand side of this diamond, duck down, roll in, and pop. You get a free hit on him. He will clear the mine for you. There you go. And then your back is already, because of your positioning in the previous screen, your back's already at the transition, so you don't need to move. There you go. Easy peasy. So the next screen shouldn't really catch you out. You just jump over these drop down doors here. Right, that guy I was talking about before, I just make a complete clown of him. Look at me, he's like, oh, I'm just going to come up here. And you're like, peace. And he's like, hang on a minute, I thought I saw, oh, it was him. Oh, no. And then he's gone. Right, up here, you want to be on the right-hand side of that dome. Double roll in, shoot him once. Now, this guy is the first time, so level 5 is the first time you're going to have to do a roll, because you want to keep that little ball alive. The reason you want to keep the balls alive when you're fighting those teleport guys is if, for example, you're in a room like here where you can't put your back against a wall or a transition, always keep those balls alive, because it will score you get out of jail free card if they try and hit you over the head. This level, we're just going to do a jump to a hang, so you hold the button basically, and this is going to be an auto run up here. This next level, this is quite complicated. We're going to do force field out, but we're not going to hold the gun out, and what we're going to do is tap the force field button, and that pauses this guy. He will not shoot you. If you already come in with the gun out, he will shoot you. For some reason, if you come out without the gun, he will not. Then all you do is turn around, point the gun, wait for him to walk past you, knock him down there, he can't get back up. The thing to remember about these guys is they have all the animations that Comrade does, but one. The one animation they don't have is a running jump. So they can't get back up if a ledge is more than 2 screens high. They can't do it. So in this level, we're just going to quickly end it by leaving those 2 guys alive. And now this is, again, one of the most easy levels, but it looks way complicated. We're going to wait for his nose to touch that door. We're going to get rid of this ball. Shoot that guy when he comes down. If you stand just left of this sign and then do a leap, quick draw, turn, and then a low, high, you will get every single hit on that guy. And it leaves you in a good place for that switch as well. I don't know what it is about that guy, but you can basically juggle him. I think it's because they don't have enough room to teleport. And then this level here, this screen here, we're basically going to trap those two guys. Remember what I said about if these guys don't have a running jump, right? So what we're going to do is just abuse this screen transition here. We're going to go out, back in to wake them up, then back out, gun out. Because they don't have a running jump like Conrad, if we knock them into that hole like that, they can't get out. So now, I mean, they can get out via the other side, but they just don't for whatever reason. I mean, they can get up, and then teleport over, but for some reason they don't. So they're, for all intents and purposes, they're now trapped in there. Like I said, level 7 and level 8 specifically, but all levels, if we can get away with... I've shorted it. You need to come in, and there you go. Right, this bit you just do an auto run, and he automatically avoids those mines. Boom. And then on this screen, we have to be all the way over to the right-hand side of this lift. We're going to take one step, we're going to turn around, we're going to pull the gun out, and we're going to keep our back to that transition to clear this level. The problem with level 3 is that this is the only level where you can go all the way around, and there's no walls. So because there's no walls, we can't put our back against anything, so we're going to use the transition, essentially. There we go. So because I'm holding the button now, if I can get a hit like that, boom. There you go. It's just another way of scoring 2 hits for free. We're going to run one screen across. We're going to stand at the transition. We're going to duck because we want to keep these balls alive. What we need to do is the 2 guys are going to come in. We need to group them together on the left-hand side. And the way we do that is by rolling strategically. So now we're going to roll, pop. We're going to roll back, pop. The one thing you got to remember is when you hear the noise of their teleporter starting, they've already committed to teleporting. Because they've already committed to teleporting, they will not stop, regardless of where you are. So once you've heard that sound start to play, you're free to roll. And what we need to do is do exactly what we've got here. We've got them grouped on the left-hand side of the screen. The balls we keep out because if they try and swing, if they try and hit us over the head, they'll hit the ball, and it's like a get-out-of-jail-free card. If you're doing a no-hit run, you need to keep those balls alive. These guys are utter bullet sponges. Total nightmare. Now they're dead, we need to get rid of the balls. So the balls can also hit each other, but this time I wasn't that lucky. Alright, that's the balls gone. There are 2 more balls that are linked to... They're essentially switches for those doors. So we're going to go up, and we're going to take the left-hand side of that little chevron. We're going to wait for the ball to come in, let it come to you, essentially. Going to come out, do the same thing on the next floor up. If I can get the positioning right. There you go, attaboy. Same again, on the left-hand side of that chevron, wait for the ball to come in, and pop. There we go. So the next lift, you want to be all the way on the left-hand side. As it comes up, you want to take 2 steps to the left and then turn around, gun out. Now, because we've got walls now, we're just going to put our back against this wall, hold the button. Doesn't matter where he is. Pop, there you go, bang, again, and again. It's just fish in a barrel time. There you go. The next guy we're going to leave because it's not worth fighting him. What we're going to do is hit the switch when he touches the door, so he turns all the way around. And then we're going to climb up. Now, I actually screwed this one up in the run. I climbed up a little bit too early, but then I climbed down again because animation priority says that I'm invulnerable to melee attacks. When I get up here, I'm going to be all the way on the right-hand side, turn around, pull out a gun, and hold the button. This is their version of a boss fight. All I am doing is holding the button. I'm not moving, I'm not aiming, I'm not doing anything. All I am doing is holding the action button. I mean, it's so patronisingly simple, considering what we've just been through with, you know, having our back in a certain way, being backed against the wall in a certain way, doing highs, lows, doing positioning and everything else. To just stand next to a wall and hold the action button is a bit much. Okay, so this is me just letting the cutscenes in between roll so I can grab a coffee or go to the toilet or do whatnot. If you've never seen, you know, Flashback played out, the story itself is essentially a combination of The Running Man, Blade Runner, what else? They Live. Right. This might be the easiest, but also most difficult level. Like, Death Tower, this is where I'm getting a coffee. There you go. Death Tower is the most technical level. This is maybe the most difficult. So, these are the cops here. This first one won't shoot you yet. So you can pull a gun in his face, nothing. You've got to make sure you are on the ball with your force field. Once he's outside the screen, you don't even need the force field anymore. You just hold the button. Every time he gets shot, he will fire off a round. It will not come back in. Stand on top of this switch, roll in. Do not keep your eye on the trolley droid. Keep your eye on that guy. You need to have your force field game locked in. Like you can see, I'm just doing force fields every time I shoot him. There was a trolley droid there, but because of the positioning of where I rolled in, he couldn't touch me anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. You want to be on this side of the lift. You want to get a free hit on him, turn around, kill the trolley droid. Here's where results differ. What I normally do is roll in here and then get him real close with this, because he's also going to shoot those balls as well. Still need to use the force field. Still super, super, super important. Alright, let's get rid of these balls because they're annoying. They're not really necessary for anything, they're just more annoying than anything else. This level is pure just practice and technique. That's all it is. So again, we're going to kill the trolley droid, and this guy can shoot from across the level, so you need to be on the ball with that force field. I know I'm repeating myself, but I mean, if you need just to practice the force field, it's super important. Okay, this one, we're going to walk in, instantly turn around, walk out. That's it. Now, this I screwed up. I actually took one step more than I needed to. But for whatever reason, the game was being well generous. So we're going to do pistol whip to force field. And we're going to get rid of him. As soon as we've got rid of him, the trolley droid's going to start making a move. We're not going to walk into the level because we don't know where it is and we don't want it to zap us through a roll. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hop across, turn around and duck. Now the way these trolley droids work is you don't actually need to be near them. You can just stand up and down. If you missed it the first time, don't worry, just stand up, crouch down. Alright, we're going to roll in. And this guy, we're going to be, again, trying to get him outside of the right-hand side of that transition. And that's it. Now he's out the right, we just hold the button. He's going to walk in, get thrown out, fire off a shot, it's not going to matter. Total bullet sponges on this difficulty. It's a nightmare. This is supposed to be a super hard fight. Do not move when you kill him, because what he's done now is opened the door on the other side. This guy's going to come in. So now we're going to kill him. And then when he is dead, we are going to very cautiously sidestep. Again, I don't think I even used the shield when this guy came in. I think I just instantly knocked him out. Right. Oh, yep, you got to make sure you accidentally grab onto that as well. It's very important. So, we're going to walk in and instantly start shooting because we want to get rid of that ball as quick as possible. If you shoot these flying cops in the back, you can score a free hit when they turn around, but you need to make sure when they do turn around that you use the force field. You don't need to use the force field when you shoot them in the back, but you do when you shoot them in the front. So we've got him out the right side of the screen. We can just hold the button. This guy here. Pop. Lovely. Run across, get the cab. Don't run off the edge. Okay, cab's going to come up. We're going to jump in. Skip that cutscene. We're going to run all the way to the right. Pull out the gun. Start shooting. Now, those two balls up the top, you don't need to worry about yet. We can draw them to us. We just need to get rid of these guys first. Okay, so he's gone. We're going to get rid of the trolley droid by doing a quick draw, duck, and then a roll. So up, quick draw, duck, shoot, roll. If you do it quick enough, can't hurt you. We're going to do a quick draw up here and then let those guys come in. There they are, there's one, and there's two. Now, this jump here, this is actually a hold leap. So you have to do a run and then hold a leap. You can't auto jump this one. And you need to make sure that you're holding on to the action button. Shoot the glass, go across, same again. Quick draw here, and then roll in, shoot the trolley droid. You do not need to move. If you did it quick enough, you can just turn around and you can get rid of the ball as well. Right, okay. We're going to go down on this lift. Gun out, get rid of this ball. There we go. Right, we're going to roll in and just bonk on the door. Get rid of that guy. Now, he's not going to move until we leave the screen, but we're going to actually leave the screen via the top, not via the bottom. Get rid of that glass, get rid of that floating ball, because we need to get up there to get the key. There we go, the key. So, rather than go down and have to fight that guy toe-to-toe with one of those things, with one of those balls, we're just going to abuse the screen transition up the top here. We're going to try and get a low hit and a high hit. I'm actually too far forward, so I'm not doing too well as far as my positioning goes. So I could have maybe, if I had been one step back, knocked him onto that platform. But you can always use the screen transitions as many times as you want. Like, rather than get hit, I would rather do that. So we're going to go onto the right hand side of this light fixture, drop down, quick draw, stand up, get rid of the ball. And then do not step left, do not step right. We're just going to turn around, roll in, get rid of that guy. Be on the edge here, because we need to get rid of that trolley droid, but we also need to move. So keep the ball alive, because it gets you a free pistol whip protection. I think he's dead. Yep, he's dead. So we need to get rid of the ball. So just give yourself a little bit of space. Now, as far as rolling goes, rolling is super important. You have a single roll and a double roll. When it comes to these balls, 9 times out of 10, you've got to do a double roll. Just roll once, roll again. That gives you enough time to get up, get the gun drawn, and, you know, do the business. Here we're waiting for this guy on the top screen to come back in, because then that gives us enough time to kill this ball, because he will drop down and get you. So by waiting until he comes into the screen, he's got to go all the way to the wall and then back again. We're going to stand on this ledge, and again, predicting where he's going to go. He can't walk past us because of the drop, so he has to teleport. So because of that, we know where he's going to be every time. There you go. The laser can't hurt you if it's on a different screen, a bit like the flying jetpack guy's guns. Take one step in, roll in, and shoot, and roll out. There you go. Roll out. Wait for the explosion. Back in. Press the wrong button. Show that wall who's boss. Pull the switch. Okay. You need to press duck at the screen transition to avoid that fire. The laser fire. We're going to use the key. Make sure you're all the way on the right hand side of this elevator. Get into a duck position, get rid of the trolley droid, stand up, get rid of the ball. This is where some of this game's logic goes out the window. The light fixture is actually a hidden switch, so you need to stand up and then down. We're not going to save. We're going to wait for the lift to come in. Now, the next screen, you're going to see something that you're going to go, what the hell? It works pretty much, 10 times out of 10, providing that you can stack inputs on top of each other quick enough. And I'll try and explain the best I can what I'm doing, but it really does move so fast. So what we're going to do, this room is supposed to be a trap, but providing that you stack inputs on top of each other, no problem. We're going to walk in, and we are going to pull our gun out, and we're going to take one step in. We are not going to step over that key. We're not going to pick up the key. Frame rate's already getting a bit chunky. We're going to get rid of this guy first. Again, because of the teleportation distance and where we are on the screen, he's going to die. He can't get us. here's the thing. When I take one step forward, regardless of whether I pick up the key or not, when I take one step forward, I am going to open those trapdoors above me, and the door is going to instantly fall. While the cutscene is playing, you are in a crouch position. I am already holding right on the D-pad, so that when that cutscene ends, I'm going to roll under the door. If you pick something up, it's almost like you're pressing down as well. So rather than fight those two balls in there, I can actually just roll under the door, skip that whole fight. Don't need to do it. This exploding mouse up here as well, not an issue if you press jump on the transition. You just grab onto that ledge, no problem. Exploding mouse is nothing. This exploding mouse is actually two ways of killing it, essentially. The first way is to pull out your gun, wait for the mouse to go from the left to the right and drop down on it. If you miss it, like I did, don't worry, just roll into the wall, that animation, you are completely invulnerable. It will not hurt you. That explosion cannot touch you if you're in your, oh, I rolled into the wall, or oh, I ran into the wall, bonked my head. Can't hurt you. So if you if you drop down on the mouse with your gun out, from left to right, it will explode. But if you miss the mouse like I did, don't worry, just wait for it to come towards you, and then just roll into that wall. And while he's doing his, oh, I hit my head, I fell down. Like, you're completely invulnerable to explosions anyway. Again, that animation priority, it's not a glitch, we're just going to abuse the hell out of it. Okay, so those guys there don't know what's up, because you're supposed to kill them to get out of that trap. This puzzle here, if you want to call it that, stand in the middle of that block, press down, roll. That's it, that gets you through this entire puzzle room, just by doing that. I have never done this puzzle in this room. I have no idea how it works, because I've never done it. I always just switch in, walk along here, pick up the key. Never been in this room either. Never been down there. Pick up the key, run back. It's one of the very first things, when I first played Flashback, I was like, I need to get in that room. Once I figured it out, no problem. So, we're not going to worry about that trolley droid, because we're not saving, we're not recharging health. What we're going to do is we're going to use the key that we got in the room below. We're going to come up here, and we're going to gun out, and we are going to abuse the hell out of this screen transition. So we're going to pop him, go back. Now, in the next room, while we're killing this guy, I'll quickly explain the next room, because it gets very, very, again, a lot of things happening very quickly. What we're going to do is going to be two guys. We're going to do pretty much the same thing as we did in Death Tower. We're going to try and manipulate them and keep the balls alive. So in case they try and pistol whip us, they'll pistol whip the ball instead. And we're going to try and manipulate the guys to be on one side of the screen, but together. You don't want to be in between them. Being in between them is a bad idea. Right, we're going to be in the middle of this door. We're going to duck down. We're going to roll in. And then we're going to pop him. See what I mean? Like, that we need to get them together. And, oh, that was close. That's what I mean about having that, the backup for the those balls are a really good backup. Yeah, the amount of times I've been saved where those guys have tried to pistol whip me. See, now we've grouped them together, it's a lot easier to kill them. Yeah, those balls they're super useful if you do it right. Okay, and this is the infamous last section. It's actually really simple. Providing you know what you're doing, you're just going to take a step and a hop. Now, the grout on the wall, the last two sets of tiles, we're going to press jump in between those last two sets of tiles. And then all we're going to do is just hop, 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 duck, wait for it, gun out, shoot. On normal difficulty, if you watch my previous playthrough, on normal difficulty, you can just shoot on the left-hand side of that screen. But on the harder difficulty, because it's such a bullet sponge, you don't have time and the disintegrator comes up behind you. So on this one, you're basically, those last two tiles, you need to press jump as soon as his foot is in between those two tiles. And then you just hold up an action. And it's hop, hop, hop. Wait till you get into the room with the ball. Wait till it comes towards you. Duck, roll, up, turn around, gun out, shoot. I am never going to be able to explain what I do in the next room in time, so I'll try and tell you as quick as possible. The jail sequence where you start out without the gun, it is possible to get through it without getting hit on expert. Here's what you do. Step, duck, roll, auto run. When you get to this black bar, jump down, pick up the gun as quickly as possible. You're in a duck position, so I'm already holding right. I'm going to roll to the right and then step. And then you just get through that screen transition quicker than those guys can pull out the gun. So you might need to wind this video back, but I'm just going to tell you what happens. You start the level, those two guys are walking towards the door. Instantly take one step forward, then duck, roll, and as you're rolling, you're already preloading the next action. So you're stacking an action on top, and that action is just a hold run, which then you turn into an auto run by letting go of the direction button. Once you've let go of the direction button and you've crossed into the next screen, what you need to do is there's a black bar on the background. As soon as you're at that black bar, you press jump, and then you will land inside the hole. Oh, before I start, this is another one of those exploding mouse. Hold the button, and then up and load into a hop, and you are completely invulnerable. Every single time. You can also climb down as well if you didn't want to. If instead of doing a hop, if you just wanted to climb down as well, you're completely invulnerable. You can't get hurt. The only thing that can hurt you when you're climbing up and climbing down is gunfire. Like melees and those exploding mice, not an issue. Exploding mice are really more theoretical than actual danger. Right, stand in front of that light post, roll in, get rid of this guy. Otherwise, you're going to get a nasty surprise later. So yeah, stacking actions on top of each other can save you from pretty much everything. Like I say, they're so pedantic about their animation priority that if you stack an action on top of another action, as long as that animation's already started playing out, you can't get hurt. This guy, you do not need the force field. You can just drop down and pop him. There are two trip switches at the top. That guy's walking in between both of them. The guy at the top is way more of a danger than the guy below. Right, so this is where you first get the telecontrol and the receiver, and we are going to absolutely abuse those as well. So we're abusing animations, we're abusing screen transitions, we're going to be abusing the teleporters. We're basically just breaking this game in half. But again, not glitching. This is, you know, this is what this game is. Right, we need to select the force field here. This is going to be like in the mission in level 2, where we're going to go up, we're going to do the force field as we're climbing, which works just like a quick draw. You just teleport while you're climbing, he will fire off a shot, it will hit the force field. The timing's pretty tight, but it can be done. Him and the guy in level 2 is the only time you really need to do that. The mission, the very last mission of level 2, where you've got to be on the ball with those force fields, that mission and that guy there is the only time you ever really need to worry about those. Okay, we're going to throw the receiver. This is why we got rid of the trolley droid. Otherwise that trolley droid would have got us there. Find the key in the lock. Now we're going to start using the tele receiver, but we're also going to be abusing the tele receiver. I completely forgot. When you teleport, you actually teleport in the direction you're facing, so you need to turn around before you teleport. But you got enough time on here. Going to pick up the receiver. And then we're going to be introduced to the final enemy in this game, the Morphs. So this is a Morph. Now, the Morphs are easier to manipulate than you would assume. However, there are a few things that are random. Where it goes and how aggressive it is randomized. When it's on its final hit point, it will be at maximum aggression. The maximum aggression is how likely it is to do a leap, how likely it is to come up underneath you regardless of whether you're moving or not. So normally you can roll past them, but if it's in its maximum aggression state, it doesn't matter where you are in your roll, it will always come up behind you. It will always hit you, sorry, like come up underneath you. Also, once you've hit a morph, like shot a morph once, it will go to the ceiling. There are certain morphs which will not go to the ceiling unless they have been hit. You want to position yourself here, go back in. So because we've already shot him once, he will now start using the ceiling. The last and final thing to remember is that Morphs, it's absolutely imperative you have enough room to roll. You cannot go toe-to-toe with these guys in a small, cramped environment. They will murder you. You need, because they can roll a fraction of the distance you can. If possible, you need to make sure that you have not only enough room to roll, but enough room to double roll, and there is a ceiling 1 floor above you, like where we are now. This is ideal location scouting for fighting a morph. You want double, like I say, you want enough space to double roll, and you want a ceiling 1 floor above you. If you've got super high ceilings, it's going to be tough. If you've got not enough room to double roll, it's going to be tough. Not enough room to single roll, you're dead. And if you have more than one, again, animation priority is beautiful. If you have 2 morphs on screen with you at the same time, do not engage them. They will kill you. On expert difficulty, they will absolutely kill you. These things are incredible bullet sponges, and 2 of them, you don't stand a chance. Here's what we're going to do. When we have got 2 or 3 morphs on screen with us at any one time, we're going to separate them. Think of the Vanilla Ice song. We're going to stop, we're going to separate and listen. That's what we're going to do. We're going to abuse screen transitions, we're going to abuse teleporters, we're going to abuse everything we can get our hands on to get these morphs in single digits, in single file, in single numbers. Because, again, you do not want to have 2 of these on screen at the same time and have to fight them. If you've got 2 morphs, one of them's got a key, you are not going to fight both of them. We're going to separate them into an upstairs and downstairs. We're also going to make sure we take them to a point of the map, like they will follow you wherever. So draw them to a point of the map where it hasn't got high ceilings, where it's got low ceilings and double width, enough space for a double roll. Also, they're not universal in their hit points, they're also not universal in their actions as well. Some of them act way more aggressively from the off, some of them have more hit points than others. Super annoying. Okay, last bit of this level, we're going to run, and then as soon as we hit the transition, we're going to jump and land in here. As soon as those guys go past, we're going to go hop, hop. We're preloading a climb, and now we're preloading a 1 step forward. Those guys now can't hurt us. So in case you missed it, again, a lot of things happen real quick. At that first, as soon as the door goes up, you run. As soon as you hit the edge of that screen transition, you do a jump. As soon as you jump, you wait for the disintegrators to go over the top. You pull up, and then you do a hop, preload a jump, preload a step. Okay, so infamous level 6. This is where it's going to get a bit dicey. Right, you want to stop here, throw the receiver, run back, do an auto run and an auto jump in. Morphs. We're going to wait for the morph to be enlarging himself back into a humanoid form. You do not want to do it when he's in his squishy blob form. You want to wait until he's pulling up, because then if he wants to attack you, he has to go back down to his squishy form. Here we're going to stop, drop, switch, teleport. You need to make sure that that teleporter controller is the next thing in your inventory. You haven't got time to go into inventory. Again, this is level 6. We're not going to kill a single enemy in this entire level. We're going to drop, we're going to duck, we're going to go in. This is super important. While you're in that screen transition, hold left and run. There are 3 morphs in this level. If you can get to where I'm standing now, where before the morphs touch the ground, they're now stuck in that screen. And we're not going to go back in that screen. So for all intents and purposes, those 3 morphs that you had to fight before, don't have to now. Forget the stone, we're not going back for the stone. I'm going to drop the mechanical mouse in here. The mechanical mouse will open and shut that door We want to make sure we're nice and close to that green thing before we roll. Now, here's something I didn't know. If you press down and use while you're holding the controller, it brings the receiver to you. I didn't know that until recently. So if you want, you can throw the receiver through that teleporter, but we're not going to do that because all of the disintegrators in this level are basically broken and you can jump through all of them. Level 6 and level 7, none of the disintegrators work unless you stop. So we just don't stop. This door, you have to shoot it to open it. I don't know why. It's the only one in the game. We're going to make sure the telecontrol is active. We're going to wait for this guy to come down to us. And then we're going to teleport. We're going to duck. We're going to... Oh, no, sorry. We're going to hold to pick up the teleceiver. And then we're going to hold left. So we automatically go into a roll because when he picks something up, you automatically duck. Take one step, duck, and roll into the pit. This needs to be done fast. We're going to quickly run here. We're going to grab the ledge and we're going to hang with the action button. We're going to wait for him to come down. We're going to go up. Then we're going to jump. Then we're going to climb. And then we're going to go down. And then we're going to climb up when he comes down. That morph is now stuck there. He will not climb back up. If you make your way up to... So if you see the pit as like level 0 and then where the morph is as level 1... and then where we are as level 2. If you go up to level 2 and then back down to 1, and then back up to 2, he will not go anywhere. He's now stuck there. If you want a more experienced, like a more in-detailed explanation, check out my other video where I go through it, because I sort of explain it in way more detail. But basically, you can manipulate the morph to trap him there. And that works on pretty much every version. Okay, this morph we're not going to fight either. We're going to run in and do a 180 turn on the transition. He's going to open fire, but it's not going to do anything. We're going to auto jump back up to here, turn around and wait. And as soon as he jumps up, we are going to leap over the top of him and auto run and auto jump out. There we go. So I'm already preloaded an auto run, and now I'm already preloaded an auto jump. And this is where the frame rate is going to go down the toilet. Standing in this position, I'm going to highlight the teleceiver. Now, we're listening for the morph to go as far back as possible. So if we wait for him to come on screen, there's a little bit of a wait, but when you see him here, so now he's going to start going out, and you've kind of got to judge in the next screen how far it would take him to get about halfway. When you think he's about halfway, leap on, throw the receiver, and then instantly book it out of there with an auto run. He'll auto jump back onto that platform, and now you're safe. Again, making sure that the controller is in your inventory. Take one step on the lift, duck, and this guy we're just going to ignore, roll straight past, and then I'm already preloading a run to the right. I'm now preloading a run to the left, and then I'm going to take one step to the right and wait for that guy to come up, and then as soon as he comes up, we're going to drop down and run to the left. We're going to auto jump up and then hold run to the next screen. Then we're going to drop down, roll through, completely ignore this guy. You can roll past if you think he's going to hit you. When you're on the next screen, we're going to grab the key and then hammer as fast as we can the use button on that teleporter. Because you don't want to get shot in the back. There you go. That will teleport us back to here. We're going to run. Oh my god, look at the frame rate. Going to run here, slam into the wall, puts you right on top of the switch. We're going to use the key. Boom. Level done. This trick as well, this is really hard. We're not going to fight these guys because there's just not enough room. So I'm going to be on the right hand side. I'm going to select the telecontrol, and I'm just going to hammer the telecontrol because the receiver's in my pocket. There we go. They can't hurt me. I'm going to use the lift down because I can't be hurt while I'm on a lift. Going to take a couple steps, go up, and then be in a duck position. As soon as we get up, I'm going to roll to the left, stop, stand up, and then press the jump button. Now those two guys are now trapped on that level. They will not bother us for the rest of the. They won't bother us for the rest of the level. Engaging those two guys, way too difficult. Again, if there's more than one guy at a time, morphs, don't fight them. And if there is two guys, like here, there are two guys in that room. One of them's got a key, and we need the key. So we can't fight them at the same time. We need to separate them. And we need to separate them in a way where we've got the upper hand. So we need a ceiling, a low ceiling, and at least 2 roll widths. That door opens when we take this lift up. So we're going to take the lift up and then instantly take it straight back down again. That little trip switch on the bottom left there, that's the thing that opens that door. We're going to go straight back down. Don't worry about that. We'll worry about that later. Okay, these two guys here. They're now on the left-hand side. So what we need to do is run in and do a 180 on the transition, and that will pull them in. Now, because we've got the controller selected, we're going to wait for them to come in, then we're going to teleport down there. They're now trapped in that top section, but it's still no good. What we need to do is we need to stand on the left-hand side of the spider web, and we need to roll into the transition when one of them is entering that transition, but not both of them. Then, now we have separated. One is still trapped up the top, and one is still trapped at the bottom. If you need to wait, just wait. You want one rolling in one direction and one rolling in another direction, and you also want one of them just to cross that frame, cross the transition at exactly the same time you roll. That way, you've trapped one on the previous screen, and you've now separated them. Also, we've got into a position where we've got double roll width, and we have a low ceiling. So this is ideal fighting conditions for these morphs. Like I say, you will never survive on expert difficulty. You will not do a no-hit run and engage 2 morphs at the same time. The last level, we got through the entire level without fighting one of them. Like this level, you have to fight them because they've got keys, or they're essentially boss enemies. So you have to engage them. Right, we're going to do the same thing here again. We're going to wait for him to come in to the transition. We're going to turn around. We're going to roll very quickly. And we're going to drag him down here as well. Why? Because we've got low ceilings and we've got double roll width. It's just, you might as well stack all of the odds in your favour. You might get hit because, again, the morphs are where, like, if you talk about the cops or the teleport guys or the jetpack guys or the balls or even the mutants to a certain extent, like, you can totally abuse them because they do the same thing every time. These guys are completely random for the most part. Like, you can trap them because they're, you know, they will magnetize to you. So when we trap those 2 guys downstairs, it's because we were on the same level as them. They can't go down, around, and up. So because of that, we can abuse the fact that we're on the same level as them, but there's a wall in between us now. So there's nothing they can do. Same thing here. Okay. To save us just some footwork later, what we're going to do is go up here now, drop down the receiver. Pop. There you go. Because obviously we can't go through the door yet. And we're going to go back round. We're going to get that morph, and we're going to, again, do the, like we did on the last level, where we were climbing up, climbing down, climbing up, climbing down. Going to do the same thing, and we're going to trap the morph again. Because, and again, there's no room. Like, you don't have at least a single roll width, let alone a double roll width, and there's no low ceilings. I'm not going to fight him. If I can use a trick to get rid of an enemy or trap an enemy rather than fight them, that's exactly what I'm going to do. If they don't hold a key or they don't hold like a trigger to open a door, I'm just not going to fight them. So this guy here, you can totally get away with not fighting. All you need to do is, again, wait for him to morph into his humanoid form, then climb down. He'll see you, you climb up, take a step, climb up, climb down. Don't forget, you're completely invulnerable to explosions and to melee attacks while you're in a climb animation. Just not gunfire. Gunfire is the only thing that can hurt you while you're going up and down. We're going to stand in front of this save sign, but we're not going to save. We're just going to hold the up button, and then we're going to leap through these disintegrators, because in level 6 and level 7, they're completely broken. Which also puts us in front of the key lock, while I struggle to find the key. This dog here, it doesn't matter where he is or what he's doing. Pull out the gun, drop down and roll. Can't hurt you. Right, because we've got a lift here, which is very, very handy, we're going to pull the lift up, we're going to duck down, and we're going to shoot. Because we're on the lift and we're moving, we can't get hurt by the explosions. Now we're going to stand, take one step to the left, we're going to throw the receiver. This is complicated. We're going to teleport, then we're going to instantly bring up the menu again. And then what we're going to do is pull out the force field, and then as soon as we teleport, we're going to hammer the force field button. It stops this guy shooting us as soon as we come in. Now this guy's a bit tricky. What I like to do with this guy is stay on the left hand side if I can and try and fight him here. Again, switching sides is actually super useful because of that animation priority. So if he's doing that thing where he's on the left and then he aims right, there are a couple of frames where you're completely invincible, so the bullets will just pass right through you. It's super hard on this frame rate though. Like the timing's all over the shot. But yeah, if you can, in this fight, just try and stay on the left-hand side. Oh, there you go. Right, up we get. Now, pick up the receiver. This brain here, you have to shoot while the shielding is off. It's always a good idea to have the force field out, just in case your shot pings off the shielding. If your shot pings off the shielding, a laser will shoot you. Once you've shot it in up there, see, look, I pinged it off the thing. Alright, that's it. Once you've done that, stay in this position and jump. Hold your arms out, make sure you're holding the action button, grab, and drop. Right, almost done. So yeah, that boss, basically you've got to shoot it when the shielding is all the way off, not some of the way off. So it's always a good idea to basically do what you do with the jetpack cops and do like shoot, force field, same rhythm. You just basically got to make sure that you have the force field. I mean, this is why when I'm in the middle of teleporting, pull up the menu, pull out the force field. Okay, and this is one of the final bosses, if you want to call it that. There's a little animation here that plays. I think it's because it deloads the last level, maybe? I'm not quite sure what this thing is here. Okay, and this bit, again, we want to make sure that we select the controller, then the receiver. We're going to run in, we're going to run up, auto jump, auto climb, we're going to duck, and we're going to drop down the receiver there, then we're going to roll, and then we're going to auto run over here. This ledge on the left, if you stand with your gun out, for some reason you're completely invulnerable. You can't shoot, but you can duck shoot. So what I'm doing now is I'm actually looking at the guy on the right hand side and waiting for him to climb up. Then I'm going to put the gun away and I'm going to teleport, turn around, and oh yeah, you have to duck. If you keep doing that, it'll automatically swing. And then I'm going to hop and then wait for him to come up. So I don't know what the deal is with the collision and these things here, but you're just completely invulnerable. I could stand there all day. By doing that, basically what I'm doing is teleporting over to the right when I need to be over to the right, but when I need to be over to the left, I'm just auto-running my way up. Again, when you're climbing, the only thing that can hurt you is bullets anyway. So, if you can get both of those guys on the left-hand side, I mean, you're slightly invulnerable on the right. You've got more chance of getting hit on the right than you do on the left for some reason. Once you've shot the heart enough times, you'll hear a door open. Kill these guys. I'm going to bring the receiver to me, save me climbing back up there again. So you just duck with the controller, press use, and then you can pick up both. Yeah, so that left-hand side, you're basically invulnerable for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why. So here, this again. This is, alright, when I said no glitches, this is kind of a glitch. I'm going to wait for this bomb dropper to come in. I'm going to wait for it to be moving left. I'm going to leave the screen. I'm going to wait for a second. I'm going to come back in. And now, for whatever reason, it's stuck behind that wall. I don't know why, but it happens on pretty much every version. Again, I'm not hard glitching the game. Right, so I've dropped the receiver on the very corner of that that ledge up there, and I'm going to wait for the bomb dropper to come to me. Then I'm going to run and slam into that wall, wait for the shot to go off, and wait for the morph to come in. I'm going to teleport, and then I'm instantly holding left and run. When I get on the lift, I'm just going to drop the lift. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to be in the right position. This is the perfect position, gun out, down. So, because this little area is so cramped, this is actually the preferred fighting space. It is the smallest fighting space you're ever going to be in. But providing you get that first shot off, he will stick to the ceiling. And you've got enough room for a single roll. You've also, if you feel like he's getting a bit close to you, you've always got that lift. You can always go down and then let him cool out a bit and then come back. If you're engaging him, and this guy you have to engage, you might as well do it on your terms. And the room to the right that we were just in, there is absolutely no space in there at all. Okay, so we're going to get the key you dropped. If it wasn't for the key, I would trap him somewhere. I'd figure out a way. Okay. Last two guys coming up, the hardest guys in the game by far. Make sure you've got the receiver. We're going to use the key in this lock here. Now, make sure you use the right key as well. We're going to drop the receiver in this doorway. And that's the last time we'll use a receiver. Right. This is tricky. On this gelatinous blob, you want to be standing exactly here. We want to roll in and step out as quickly as possible. We're already in the transition. We're going to wait for the one guy, just one, to be on the screen with us. Then we're going to teleport. Now we've separated them. That first guy is now stuck downstairs. This guy is now with us. We want to drag him back to where we fought the guy with the key. So we're basically going to fight him again here. Use the lift, get yourself all positioned up and ready and gun out and in the right position. Exactly the same as last time. We're going to fight him here on our terms. But you need to make sure you get that first shot off so he doesn't stick to the floor. Essentially, he will stick to the ceiling if he's already been hit. You can shoot that lower guy. When you roll in, you can roll in, shoot, and roll out. It's easier that way. But the way I do it, I've got it in like the rhythm down now, so I can do this. You'll also notice that there's so much on screen, it's split over so many screens that the frame rate is just tanked. So getting the timing on this is super hard, because if he's in his maximum aggression state and the frame rate has just gone to pot, you're going to have a bad time because you can't get into the rhythm of when he's going to try and get you, when he's going to try, like when you should start rolling, if you should preload a roll while he's already in a roll animation. It's just, it does make it super tricky. And also, he's a massive bullet sponge. These last two guys are set to pretty much maximum aggression, and also they have the most hit points of, I think, any enemy in the game. And there's two of them. So now this guy's dead. We can't fight two at the same time, and you can't fight the guy down here. You have to drag him up. You have to drag him upstairs. Here we're gonna lower ourselves off this ledge, and that puts us in perfect roll position. So we're gonna go down. We're gonna gun out. Now we have double roll position, and we have a low ceiling. This guy is instantly way easier than the last guy, purely because we've got space. That's all you need is space. And again, don't feel bad if you get these guys hitting you, because they're just completely random. Like they don't have patterns. You can manipulate them to a certain extent, but if it rolls the dice and decides that you're going to get hit, you're going to get hit. A lot of the times you've either got to wing it through doing the left to right gun animation. So essentially doing that sort of swap shoulder animation. You've got to do that to manipulate the bullets essentially going through you, or just get lucky. Maybe it doesn't roll the dice to say you're going to get hit this time. It's annoying, but that's just the way it is. There's just no rhyme or reason with the morphs. They are horrible. Horrible. I can't understand how anyone would legitimately speedrun this game. It is an utter nightmare. Alright. We're not going to go and pick up the thing for the last 2 disintegrators, because remember, the disintegrators are broken. We're just going to hold a jump on the transition and fly straight through them. And then we're going to drop the... Oh yeah, we did it so quickly, there was like 1 or 2 frames where the guy gave us the atomic charge. We're going to drop the atomic charge, then we're going to teleport back to the one in the doorway. And then we're going to book. So yeah, I mean, it is possible. The whole reason I did this was, is it possible to play Flashback without getting hit, without saving, without using the wall glitches, you know, all of that. And then, while I had time on my hands, kind of, while I was recovering, for some reason I had it into my head, let's just do it on the hardest difficulty. What I didn't take into consideration is that by doing it on the Megadrive, it's made, again, even harder because of the lack of memory and horrific frame rate and everything being based and centered around timing. When the timing is wonky, depending on how much is in the memory, it makes it even harder still. So there's like another added layer of difficulty. So yes, it's possible to get through the entire game without being hit. Yes, it's possible to do it without glitches, if you don't count sort of manipulating AI and trapping the bomb dropper and stuff like that, or abusing screen transitions, abusing, you know, trapping morphs by getting them on the same level. Providing you do that, yeah, it's totally possible, and you can do it on the hardest difficulty setting. I don't know if all these tricks will work. Like when I did my playthrough of level by level, I had completely different ways of killing the morphs because I was using the PlayStation 4 version, and on that version they can get hit by the munitions dropper, like the little bomb dropper on that very last section of the very last level. You can kill the morph by just hitting it with the bombs. Can't do that on this version. It doesn't work. They're immune to bombs for some, you know, for whatever reason. So some of the techniques that I've built up over time, I just had to throw in the bin. Like there was nothing I could do, so I had to make new tips, new techniques just for this run. So again, I don't know if everyone does it this way, but I do it this way. And if it helps anyone out there who thinks, man, I'm getting stuck on this level, chances are you can just skip it. Like if there's an enemy that's really giving you trouble, just run past them 9 times out of 10, or trap them. Or if you do need to engage them, separate and then engage them, and engage them in a certain area. Like, there's a lot you can do in this game. This game is, it's a good game, it's one of my favourite games, but it is what it is. It's got its little issues, and why not exploit that? And then I thought right at the end here, I would just throw in the final score. This is what you would get if you did that run. Alright, cool. Peace.